Hi guys, and welcome to the Friday Live thing with me, Mark Thompson, and Mr. Tim Embrace the Hate Goodwin.
Embrace the haters. Well, I don't want to embrace the haters. I'll embrace the hate. Do you know what? It's a perfect timing. I don't know whether you can hear in the background. Somebody's decided to start cutting their grass. Literally, like this minute.
There'll be half the decibels of Annie Gardner in Spain. The first thing is they get Estrema and they modify it so it's got no exhaust.
Yeah.
So people know he's coming from a mile away. And don't worry, I've got down the end of the road that end, I've got a guy with a jackhammer. Down the end of the road that end, we've now got a big bulldozer knocking down all the walls and all the gates. So, no problem.
So what are we talking about today, Mark?
What should we talk about today? I know, I've got an idea. Let's talk about the skills, the life skills you need as an online marketer. The basic, simple, how to tie your laces type thing. How not to cross the road without getting run over, but in a marketing sense. Does that sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
Right. So what should we pick a number between 1 and 5?
5.
Oh, psychology.
There we go. Let's start light then.
Let's start with the easy stuff. Psychology. Right. So on this, right. So one of the life skills I try and let's say marketing life skills, I try and make sure I actually know a bit about and try and use is psychology. Now, you don't need an MA or a degree or a PhD in psychology. You need to have a skim through Robert Cialdini's book Influence. I mean, that will give you a good idea of marketing psychology. You need to understand things like the law of reciprocity. If you give people a load of good stuff, I mean, they're more likely to buy from you, which is pretty bad. Things like Pareto's principle.
Not really psychology.
Not really psychology. No, but the thing between it, the basis behind it is actually a bit psychology, because 80% of people are going to do jack shit. That's basically what it comes down to. 80% of people aren't actually going to do anything.
They're not going to buy your products. They're not going to understand your sales page. They're not going to opt into your list. They're not going to click on the link.
Yeah.
When you look at the raw data of it rather than the psychological principle of it, it's like absolutely, like most of the time you'll get frustrated because you'll go, oh, why is all these people on my website but they're not buying my stuff? And it's like, it's
just rather than your psychology, it's their psychology. I did a lot of data harvesting during the week and data research, and it was when I do a free course, right, what happens to the viewer numbers or the reader numbers? And generally speaking, it goes from it goes from about 80% on the first video down to on the 5th, 6th, 7th, now it's 25% of people actually watch those. And everyone, oh, no, that's terrible. Well, when I look at the courses that we do, the same stuff happens.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly the same stuff. A lot of people watch the first one, watch the second one, and then life gets in the way and then they tend to drop out. But the thing was that, I was getting quite depressed with this. Like, well, why am I bothering with only 25 people actually getting there and watching it? But then when you extrapolate the data to how many people went on that list, then went on later to look at something else or to buy something else, it was quite a decent amount. It was 25% of people. In fact, on the last one I did, it was 90 out of 175 people ended up becoming buyers at some point. So, okay, let's just accept the fact that, people are going to drop out.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you've got that first contact point. You've got your first bit of engagement. And that's warm traffic, probably for about, I reckon, 4 to 6 weeks. If you then do anything 4 to 6 weeks on, you've then got, even though they haven't finished the course and maybe they've only watched 1 or 2 videos, you've got their attention.
There was something I put up onto the SMO group this morning. I've been putting up a regular thought stroke idea of the day kind of thing. And today was all about recurring billing, about subscriptions. And the whole 80-20 rule rings true because about 20% of our customers become subscribers. Okay. which is quite small. It's probably less than. It's probably about 15% of our customers overall become subscribers. However, the amount of revenue and profit that we get basically accounts for 80% of the profit margin that we make comes from our subscribers. And that's that reality. And you go, well, I'm actually really quite happy with that. So when we do get a subscriber, I'm doing a happy dance. It's the best thing that can happen. It doesn't happen very often, and I'm happy with low numbers because I don't need that many to actually have a good profit margin. So yeah, it rings true in so many different aspects.
Well, I mean, why I think this should be, I should have this under the psychology bit is, it's easy to get depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you look at your numbers, it is easy. Well, only 25% of people are opening my emails. Well, yeah, so what? It's expect it. I mean, you're doing better because you would normally expect 20% of people to open your emails. So you're actually doing better. So yeah, I mean, to broaden out psychology, it's more like mental health as well. So I mean, don't let marketing get you down. I mean,
so I think what you're trying to say is two halves to this. There's the psychology, understanding psychology of a customer. There's the psychology of being an entrepreneur, and those two things, they go hand in hand.
Yeah. And you've got to understand it. Because you can, a number of people probably walked away from online marketing after 6 months simply because they expected 100% of people to open their emails every day. They expected people to go all the way through all their courses. And they expected people to be like they are, and very rarely they are. That's why you're embracing the haters this week, isn't it?
I am embracing.
Don't you know who I am?
Don't you know who I am? Who says that? Who says that?
But you better tell people. So we were chatting before him on, and Tim was saying he's had the typical haters again come to one of his ads, right, and give him engagement.
It's actually normally on a Friday evening, a Friday afternoon evening. All of the jokers, all of the bullshitters, all of the haters come out on Friday. And they've just come early this week. They've just come out on the Friday morning instead. And there's a thread on one of my adverts at the moment that just makes me laugh because somebody tags somebody else, and you put my usual comments of thanks very much for tagging friends. I appreciate it. If you've got any questions, let me know. And somebody goes, "Oh, this company is a bunch of jokers," and it just escalates. And I just start going really lighthearted with them. I put GIFs. So there's a GIF of the Joker from Batman. And it was like, I've got one which says, well, that escalated quickly. These guys are absolutely just spitting blood and flames. And it's like, they're going, don't you know who this person is? And it's like, no. Oh dear. So yeah, I suppose the second thing to kind of talk about is embrace the haters, because we'll all have them, and the more that you stick your head above the parapet, and I've noticed this more over the last 6 months, where we've got more and more people coming to adverts, more literally hundreds of thousands, millions of people seeing our adverts. We're getting more of the idiots, and I think Sam, my wife, is quite happy that I'm doing all of the replies to all the comments, because it can really drag you down if you take it too seriously. And I was like, I accept that. It goes back to that Pareto thing. It's like, I accept there's a percentage of people who just do not want to know anything about my products. And it's like, the bit that makes me laugh is when they comment and they go, "Oh, this is bullshit," and they put in comments and all sorts of things. What they're actually doing when they do that is they're actually boosting the ability for my ad to be shown even further, because Facebook sees all this great engagement going on my ad, and I'm like, I'm just encouraging them to keep on responding, dude. Give me all of that, whatever they call it. It used to be called Edge Rank, but now it's something else. But yeah,
people, man. So that's the first one. Learn the basics. Do read Cialdini, or even get the Cliff Notes for Cialdini. There's a lot of Cliff Notes around there for it. understand the basics of marketing, and get a thick skin.
Yeah, on the whole, I understand the basics of marketing. There's a book by Trout and Rees, The 7 Immutable Laws of Marketing. I think that's what it's called, isn't it?
Something like that.
Well worth reading. It's basic marketing, but it's the stuff that everybody forgets. It's the kind of like, oh yeah, that's like, fundamental stuff. I know all about that. Keep reading that book. I've still got that book on my bookshelf, and I pick it up like probably about once every 6 months when I'm lost for an idea, or like I need a bit of inspiration or something. I open the book and I'm like, right, what one of these laws can I use? I'm just gonna have a quick look for it. Jack Trout. It's not the Jack Trout fly fishing.
I was gonna say.
He wrote another book called Positioning, which is actually an equally good book.
Yeah.
So hold on a second. Carry on talking.
No, I'm just going
to leave me hanging. Positioning and the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, Al Rees and Jack Trout.
Cool.
Both brilliant books. They're the basics, but they're well worth getting. I think the 22 Immutable Laws is like about £7 for a paperback. It's ridiculously cheap.
Good. Right. Next, pick another number.
2.
2, communication. You've got to be able to communicate. It's all about communication. Whether it's written, whether it's verbal.
Clearly, we can't do verbal.
Yeah. Oops. Now, wherever you start, whatever you're doing, have a clear idea of the message you want to put across. Right. So even if you're logging a support call, we had a good laugh about this earlier, right? So know exactly what you want from that support call. What answer do you want? Okay. So my biggest bugbear is I get support calls that go, I can't log in. Well, okay. So who are you? Where are you trying to log in? I got one about 2 weeks ago, and went. It was about a Fitbit watch. I haven't received my Fitbit watch yet. Oh yeah, and I mean, who are you? Why do you think I'll be sending you a Fitbit watch? It's like, what? It's like, come on, guys. So the thing is, like, okay, if you're writing, let's broaden this out so I don't sound too grumpy. If you're writing a blog post, right? Yeah. Work out what you want that blog post to actually get across. What is the message you want? And make sure you've got that message in there. You can have 5,000 word blog post, but if there's no one clear message in that blog post, well, you're wasting those 5,000 words. You could have, maybe just wrote one sentence that got the message across. But so I know we're terrible at this. We start saying we're just going off on a winding path, and that's because we haven't got one clear message we're trying to get across. No, it's even call to action. If you've got call to action, make sure that call to action is actually what you want, right? What do you want the person to be? Do you want the person to be a customer? Do you want to be a person to be a subscriber? Do you want just to warm up the traffic? Read this, sign up here, buy this. Right? Whatever one of those call to actions you use, you're going to get a different result. Okay, so people tend to think really broad and go, "Oh yeah, I want someone. I need customers. I want traffic." Well, you don't want traffic because you can have completely the wrong traffic. But if you know if you communicate properly, then you've nailed it, because you're going to get the people that you want. That's a bit of verbal communication for you.
So I've got a bit of a tip for people if you're ever logging a support call with anybody. This is actually this works, because I use it all the time now, because I discovered how effective it is in getting quick responses and actually really, really great, really polite, really friendly responses from support desks. If you go to somebody going, oh, this is all broken and blah, 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 and you gripe and grouch and moan and whatever, you don't really get very far. So yesterday, for example, I had to send a support query into Klaviyo, and the subject was, hey guys, I've been a Muppet.
And they always come back with, no, you haven't. No, that's our fault.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Well, no, I basically went, I've been a bit of a Muppet. Help. I've deleted something I shouldn't have deleted. And I deleted pretty much an entire flow. Well, 90% of the flow. All the emails had gone. There was about 15 emails in there. And I was just like, oh, you fucking Muppet. Anyway, so I literally sent a message going, I've been a Muppet and deleted 15 emails. Can you retrieve them? Kind of thing. And literally within 10 minutes, they came back and went, yeah, we can retrieve them. It's done, finished, whatever. I'm like, and they were so cool about me being honest that I'd done something stupid. Yeah. But I've used that elsewhere and kind of like, being a little bit slightly self-deprecating when I put in a support call, because then you tend to get a better response from people, because it makes the person at the other end, the support person, makes them smile, makes them realize, oh, this person's cool, I'll deal with that one quickly, and you tend to get much, much quicker response.
The one I always use is, I don't know what I've done wrong this time, but...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've had not a bad support. I mean, so I've logged a call yesterday with Active Member 360 because I'm going through changing all my passwords. And it wouldn't let me change my password. Even though this is one of the ones I actually found the password box. I'm going to go on a rant in a minute. I can feel it coming up again.
Steady.
Right, so now let's do the rant. Okay. So I'm going through all 353 accounts or sites that I've got in LastPass and updating every single password. Right. And I'll do that. I'll do that on a rolling basis. Once I've got it all done, on a rolling basis, every 2 months, I will go and change 10% of the passwords, something like that. I'll do 30 a month. And then, so over the year, every password gets constantly refreshed. And that's my idea. Right. So have you ever tried to change 10 passwords in a row on 10 different sites? Because there's 10 different ways of doing it. I mean, there's some sites I cannot find where to change the password. I've been in there and there's no way to change the password. The only way you can do it on some of them is to go to log in and say, I've lost my password. And it's ridiculous. So Active Member 360, so I'll go there, add a password in, can't do a password, log a call, little sign comes up, please log a call, we can't change the password at this point. So log a call in. And the guy went, oh yeah, you have to have a company name in there. I went, it says optional. I said, yeah, but you've got to put a company name in there. Right? So we'll go back, put a company name in there. Won't change. Big red line. You've got to enter password in these two boxes. I have just entered the password in these two boxes. Big red lines now. Clear them out. Type them in again. You've got to enter the password in these two boxes. So there's 2 videos I've got. I did a video for a support call to show exactly what the problem was. The first one is me ranting and swearing and threatening to come around there and kick their asses. And the second one is, okay, I won't show you the first video I've done. Now, this is a problem I'm having. This is so infuriating. It's been a whole day and I can't change my password. I think you've got a major problem with your password system. Now I'm waiting for the reply now. It's the simple thing that push you over the edge sometimes. So communication. I told him what I wanted to do. I want to change my freaking password.
See, the thing with communication, and this comes back to my sort of embrace the haters thing as well. If you have the ability to remove yourself emotionally from what you're trying to achieve, and don't take things too seriously and not be quite as because if you've got to have thick skin when you're doing an awful lot of responses on Facebook and on Twitter or Instagram or whatever social media platform or whatever audience you're building. You've got to have thick skin because there's always going to be some muppet who basically is being a dick about stuff. But it's trying to remove yourself emotionally from it so that you don't necessarily bite back. And it was actually a Ben Settle book which I read that was to do with trolls. I can't remember the name of the book.
Copy Troll. Was it
Copy Troll? Yeah, I think it was Copy Troll. And all of that stuff was really, really quite good for how to deal with trolls and how to, like, basically, there's some stuff in there which I disagree with, because he says you should never engage with trolls, and it's like, well, actually, no, there's a benefit.
Life, we don't do that.
There's actually a benefit for me to engage with trolls, so I'm going to engage with trolls. But it's like, it's just remember that ultimately these people are never going to buy your product, and it's like the most amount of reach that they can actually get is very, very minimal. It's very rare. The only time that people's trolling efforts and dissing your company gets bad is if you bite back with a really nasty, vicious, and a personal response. Yeah. If you go back to them with a non-personal attack, you're in a much better position. It's when you personally attack somebody that's the worst position to be in. So that's when you get into trouble.
So you've always got to bite your tongue when you.
Well, yeah, no, it's like you can't go, "Oi, you're a fucking muppet." You can't say that. But you can.
No, I don't know who you are.
No. It's like, I'm sorry.
Should I know who you are?
Should I know who you are? Or it's like, I'm sorry. I live in a box. I don't get out much. I spend all my time replying to people like you on Facebook. It's things like that where you go, okay, well, it's self-deprecating. You're not making a personal attack on somebody, and having the ability and the sort of dexterity with your communication to be able to do that in a light-hearted way, it will pay dividends massively, because people will respect you more for, like, not taking stuff personally and not being, and just not necessarily absorbing the shit, but just basically letting it bounce off you.
I got someone comment on an ad a while ago, but it was about 3-4 weeks ago, and it said I was giving away the free affiliate training course, and the guy went, "Well, if you're so good at affiliate marketing, you wouldn't have to sell that course." I went, "Sorry, you obviously misunderstood. It's completely free. ... Right?" His reply was, "An ellipse has got 3 dots, not 2." So I thought, on that one.
I don't know if I told you about this. Did I talk about Destroyer 666 last week?
Yeah, you mentioned it to me. Destroyer 666. Destroyer AH on it.
Destroyer 666. I'm talking about anti-nutrients. And the thing is, I didn't actually need to respond at all, because sometimes the trolls, they just
hang themselves.
They do. They literally do. You don't need to give them any rope to hang themselves. They got more than enough rope to hang themselves with. Yeah.
So that's communication. Okay. Just look. Basically, know what you're going to say, and know how to put it across in such a way that you get the results that you want.
I think another thing on communication is actually writing is a really strong.
No, don't ruin number 3 on the list.
Oh, is that number 3? Is it writing? And it's like, to give you an idea, when I left school, when I left school at 18, I went to university. I went to do a computer science degree, for fuck's sake. So I between school GCSEs and when I started running my personal training business at around about 30 years old, I didn't write at all. As in, I'd never written an essay. I'd never written anything more than a couple of paragraphs, never written an article or anything like that. So I spent probably the best part of 14 years of my life not writing. However, I make the significant amount of my income from writing. So whether it's writing emails, whether it's writing articles, blog posts, scripts for videos, all those types of things, advertising copy, Facebook.
Live shows. They'll believe it, mate.
So I make a significant amount of my money from doing that, and it's like, okay, so how can somebody who never wrote an article after 16 years old do that? And it's practice, and it's finding a voice. So and people go, "Oh, I can't write. I'm rubbish at writing." It's like, well, sit down and start writing then. Start. Even if it's within SMO or the foundation or within Pro, whichever group you're in, like, get in there and start writing. It's something that I've been doing, and I've kind of fallen out of a habit of doing stuff like this. And I was about 2 weeks ago, I decided, right, I need to start putting stuff regularly into SMO, into the foundation, which is why you'll start seeing things like my daily idea thoughts. And it's just being able to like sit down for 10 minutes and write. And it's like that alongside the emails that I write to do with, green powder stuff. So, it's expanding your repertoire of your ability to write.
Yeah. We've got, I don't think between us there's any, we wouldn't, if we didn't write, we couldn't write, we would not earn a cent.
No.
Everything, even if it comes from a video or whatever, somewhere along the line, you have to be able to write. Yeah. I mean, I would say, what have I written it down as? I've written it down as, basically, develop your own writing style. Practice writing, develop a writing style. Because, honestly, there is pretty much, it's online, it's all bits, ones and zeros, but it all comes from being able to write. A little bit of creative writing, be able to write an advert, be able to write a headline. If you can write just a 5-word headline that catches attention, you got it nailed. You just got to be able to put down 4 or 5 words on paper, and you've got a really good basis, because people read what you've then got. So yeah, writing's so important, and developing your style and constantly writing.
I say I've been sort of, our good friend Michael Christon is a genius with this stuff. He is really, I genuinely say this, and I know it feels like I've been saying this for absolutely ages. He's this close to re-releasing Creative Words and his war report.
I think we mentioned that on the first live we did.
Is it
40th?
So I'm slowly but surely working on Mikey. He's he is getting there. He's actually writing a sales page for it right now, which is cool.
So that'd be what? Hang on, another year?
No, he's not going to be. I am absolutely desperate to get that out into the open, because it's brilliant, and it's like it's one of those weird things, like the original Creative Words. Yeah. I printed a copy of that out on my printer at home, kind of thing, and I stapled it to put it into a nice folder and a binder, and I had it on my desk for and I still refer to it today. I still open it up and go, oh, I want to do something different with how I phrase that, how can I make this report sing? How can I make a blog post with a better headline? How can I put all these types of things? And that's what Creative Words is all about. So when it does come out, get on it quick, because I know Mikey's got some founder member kind of copies, or lower cost copies of it when it does come out.
No, it's stuff's brilliant. Right, so talking about this, yesterday, Martin, you hear Martin? No, it's not. He did a post in Thrivecart, and it was like, how do I do this? But the post was referring back. Do you remember Brian Moran, who owns Samcart? He has the 1-page funnel.
Yes.
That's something that 2016, 2017, I actually bought that product, and I completely forgot about it. So I sort of dug it out today and had a look at it. And yeah, hang on. Well, why aren't we using the 1-page funnel? Hi, Andy. So the idea of a 1-page funnel is you have maybe a video explaining it, a short 2-minute, 3-minute video explaining it, then not even bullet points, or just big points, and then some social proof, and an ability to buy, right? Now people go, oh, that won't work. You've got to have long form for sale copy. But what they don't realize is your emails are doing all the work, because the only time you would send someone to that page is via email. So like most marketers, including myself, when we do a promotion, we have a sales page. You have your, depending how lazy you are, you have a sales page, and you have got, yeah, exactly. You've got all the content on the sales page, right? To get people to buy. Okay. So whether somebody comes from somewhere they've never heard of you and lands on that sales page, or it's somebody who's been on your list for 2 months, 6 months, 2 years, they get the same sales page. Well, you don't actually need that. What you need is a little tiny, just the basics for the people who know you, who know your product. Right? We've talked about this before. We sell stuff with just one link. The post with a link at the bottom. Click on here, send me $30. So this one-page sales page, one-page funnel, when incorporated with good quality written content, as in emails, is all you need. So watch out for a few one-page funnels coming up from me in the very, very near future.
I really, a lot of the time, like longer sales copy, there is a place for it if you're doing an awful lot of like cold traffic and you need to do an awful lot to warm them up. But to be honest with you, if you're driving a lot of cold traffic for something, to be honest with you, you're probably better off getting them onto a opt-in page first.
Yeah.
So like, get them onto your list first so you can actually create a relationship. It's just kind of, I think it is an IM thing, internet marketing thing that, like, since the dawn of time, I've spoken about this in some of the idea thought of the day things, where it's like a lot of what we do is kind of almost internet marketing folklore, and it's like it's actually utter bullshit. It's just the way that it was always done. And it's like, if you read any of the stuff from Donald Miller, the StoryBrand guy, you'll discover that actually, I know, I say I've got
still on my desk.
Yeah, it's on my shelf somewhere behind me.
In my inbox, everywhere.
In the inbox, yeah. I get his emails every day. I check out his videos that he releases on YouTube. But the thing is like the landing pages that he talks about are ridiculously simple. It should be. Otherwise, your product is too complicated. If it can't be expressed in like literally a couple of words, then really your product is way too complicated. Yes, you can fill in the details further in down the line, but even then, it should be immediately obvious the benefit, the what's in it for them. When
my whole aim now in life is to completely do away with sales pages. Seriously, notice most of my sales page, like even on the front page of SMO now, isn't a sales page. It's an opt-in form. The only people who ever come and see the sales pages are people we've already engaged with.
Yeah,
and that's the way it should be. That's where I maybe other people have other views, but that's where I think it should be. The 5K method, 5kmethod.com. That sales page is pretty small. Most of it is testimonials. Because I'm a little bit lazy. Okay, I don't want to have to do copywriting for a huge long copy form setter. It's easier for me and more enjoyable for me to send people there after a 4 or 5 email sequence, because when they get there, they're sure as hell going to be more revved up for it than if they just go to a cold page and go, "What's this? Another sales page?" Oh, I don't know.
I'm always being slightly bemused by the sort of ridiculously long sales copy for a product that costs like $15.
Yeah.
You see like the little scroll bar down the right hand side of your thing, and it's like you got this enormous sales page which must have taken the person like 6 weeks to write. It's that long, and like with like all these testimonials plastered all over the place, and just ridiculous like bonus on bonus and explanation of what's in the product and blah blah blah, and you get to the bottom and it's $19 for the product. I'm like, seriously, if you have to work that freaking hard to sell them $19, really is it actually worth it?
You look at any webinar, or pretty much any webinar, right? You sit through a webinar, they pitch you a product, and it can be a $900 product, a $2,000 product. They'll send you to a checkout page.
Yeah.
There's no sales page. I mean, if you do a webinar, you've got to send someone to a sales page, mate, redo your webinar, because that's just wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to be writing loads of little one-page simple funnels, and with the cart on there, everything on there. But just go here. If you want it, if you're not persuaded you want it, but by the time you land on that page, you're never going to buy it. So why bother?
What's next on your list, Mark?
Right. Okay. We've sort of done the ability to write and communication as one.
Yeah.
Non-verbal communication now. Hi. Be pleasant like Tim. Make eye contact. Yeah. Oh my God, everyone's going to be watching the podcast now, or listening to the podcast rather than watching this going forward. But if you're doing well, not just your own non-verbal communication, but if you're running an advert on Facebook, okay, pick an image that's going to represent your product a little bit. Okay, that image is. I sometimes take it quite literally. Like I like to get an image that speaks about like frustrated with affiliate marketing. Yeah, exactly. That's the type of thing I'll use. Okay, it will be someone looking frustrated.
A stock image of a man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But the idea is basically to stop people in their tracks. Okay, so you get different ways. I mean, I've got one at the moment that's stopping people in their tracks because it just says "boom" in big like cartoon style writing. But it's something a little bit different. I mean,
I suppose when you're creating videos or image ads for Facebook in particular, the imagery is probably about 80% of the goal here, because without that imagery, you're not going to stop the scroll. And I hate people because other people say, you've got to get something like that eye-catching that stops them scrolling. It's like, yes and no. You're not trying to bait them. You're just trying to attract the right person. Yeah. So it might be the first word, or it might be the first image that appears as they're zooming past that calls out to the person that you want to attract, not necessarily the baity images and baity like sentences. It's like
that's where I've got a big issue with people who use clickbait. Right?
And people think clickbait is all about the headlines, and it's not just about the headlines. It is the imagery that's used as well. Definitely.
But there's you see it on Facebook, you see it on the bottom of certain pages with native ads, right? Really, really, 74 people in Marbella are doing this at the moment, whatever, right? Now, you click through to it. It's got absolutely nothing to do with anything I'd be interested in. But they've just gone for a general clickbaity image and headline. So you click through. Hang on. No.
Wasted clicks.
Yeah.
So wasted ad spend, honestly.
Yeah. And then they're going to start retargeting, because they probably haven't got the 30-second delay on the pixel. So they're costing themselves money. And that's simply because, their initial non-verbal communication is completely up the swanny.
Yep.
So
non-verbal communication.
Frustrating with live video. It's really, really, really important that you get all this stuff, and you actually it all interlocks together like that. And
that's good for the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, podcast people, guess what? Here's the church. Here's the steeple. Oh, whatever. Open the doors and see the people. But no, it's really all this stuff. Is a nice sort of general progression. I mean, all these skills, they're really simple, really basic, but they all work together to basically make yourself a marketer. And there is one more that I've got on there.
Go on.
Okay. That's basically learn to use what you've got. Trust me, there's nothing not unmanly about reading support documents and watching training videos. Really. That's what they're there for.
Just to give you an idea of this, it's like the email software that I use for our business is Klaviyo, or Klaviyo if you're in America. Klaviyo. And you can use Klaviyo as basically as an email marketing software, like any other email marketing software that's out there. However, dig a little deeper and dig into some of the extra little features that it has, and suddenly it becomes a really, really powerful relationship management system. So to give you an idea, one of the tools that they don't really talk about, or they do talk about, but they don't talk about, and they've kind of like been testing it over recent times, is it's got basically predictive analytics in there. So it can actually tell me with pretty good reasonable accuracy of when they can predict the next purchase for that particular contact is going to come. So as long as somebody has placed at least one order, they will actually be able to tell me based upon their activity when they're going to order next. So I can use that data
to never run out of stock again.
Never run out of stock again. Technically, no, because we're going to run out again. Another story. But no, I can use that information instead of just going, okay, well, on average, a customer, like the time between a customer purchase is 60 days or something like that. Instead of guessing and just having basically a big broad stroke across all customers, it works out for each individual customer, like when it expects them next based upon their previous history of ordering and the history of other people on the same thing. So basically I can use that information and go, okay, if this person is 1 week beyond their predicted date of next purchase, put them into this flow. And it's like, it's a completely different ball game to just having a blanket, like, oh, after 60 days, like start them on this flow. It's a completely different ball game. And it's just one little tool, one little tweak. And there's so many of those things within the software that you use that can be complete game changers for how you utilize the software.
On an absolutely similar note to that, I put a video in SMO Pro yesterday of how I'm using nested if-then things. So basically, if I build it out properly, it's going to take people basically a month to go through it before they get a general email from me. It will all be they'll be getting all my best performing emails before they even get to the general folder.
Basically, this very simple thing that you've talked about before in one of your other videos is about tagging somebody that they're in a flow or in a whatever you call them on.
Do not disturb. Do not disturb at the start. Do not disturb at the middle.
Yeah. So I have a tag which basically sets against every single person who comes into a flow, and it says in flow, true or false, and that's basically it. So it means that all of my general day-to-day emails that go out, if they're in a flow is true, then I don't send them an email because I don't want them disrupted from the flow, the very specific setup, the autoresponder that I've got set up for that particular person, because it's more important for them to go through the flow rather than get my daily email.
Yeah, exactly. And if you sit down and work out what's the most important things in your business, okay, what do you want to focus on your business? So for me and for us, getting people into the foundation, okay, and then because in there we can demonstrate our abilities.
Yes,
we can show people just what we're about. We can introduce them to this is how we do marketing. It's not like how other people do marketing. We're not half as good as other people, but we have more fun.
Yes.
So the very first thing I want anyone who comes onto any list is to get into that. So the first or second email, or the first email that goes out for any opt-in that anyone does, or any of the 100 million opt-in forms I've got, I will try and get them into the foundation. They'll then go through that sequence. Once they finish that sequence, I'll just dump them into this main flow. And the first if then is, are they a member of the foundation? If they're not, well, they're going to get like 4 or 5 emails about the foundation, recommending certain articles to read, certain things we've done. If they are a member of the foundation, great. Then, okay, let's go and talk about 5K method. Okay, so I'm not going to go and start pitching them straight away, but what I'm going to do is talk about the type of stuff that affiliate marketing can do to you. And then at the end of that sequence, I go, by the way, look, if this interests you, here's $20 off the 5K method, and send them to one of those simple one-page funnels. Boom,
so
done.
Here's another example of how it can actually save you money as well. I'll come back to Andy. If you leave that up for a second, I'll get back to that in a second. Shopify. I use Shopify for our e-commerce platform. Very, very powerful bit of software. I got an email from them a couple of weeks ago basically saying, we're you've been grandfathered in over the last however many years into this particular rate for the top level of access to Shopify. And it's like, but we're going to increase your monthly bill from, I think it was like going up from $199 a month to, 179 up to $299 a month. And I was like, that's kind of like a bit nasty. But so I started digging in and looking at, okay, what do I actually use? What features do I use of Shopify that are in that top package that I might get in a lower package? And instead of going up to $299 a month, I've gone down to $79 a month. Because I don't use any of the other extra functions, and like most of my charges go through other checkouts, so I don't get charged their higher rate of like commissions.
Yeah.
And here's the other part, that when I went to sign up for the $79 a month, I was like, well, I'm not going to change from Shopify in the next 2 years. Let's sign up for the next 2 years. And instead of it being $79 a month, it's the equivalent of $59 a month. So I've gone from $179 down to $59 a month. I've paid for it all up front for the next 2 years. So I saved myself a whole bunch of money. And also, when I paid for it on my Amex card, I've got points, and I've also been able to pay for $250 of it through the points I already had on my Amex card. So it's actually cost me probably about $40 a month for Shopify for the next 2 years. And I'm like,
thank you for putting your prices up, Shopify.
Yeah, it was literally, that was like, thank you for bringing this to my attention. So Andy's asking, just curious, what's your best funnel on your e-commerce business, and do you continue testing new funnels ideas? Yes, absolutely. It's actually less of a funnel; it's more of an offer. And if you've read anything, which I'm sure you have, Andy, you've read stuff by Peter Spapen on a regular basis within the original Facebook group we had, and also within SMO, the foundation. It's less about the funnel; it's more about the offer that you have. And at the moment, I have a landing page that I'm sending cold traffic to. It's converting at around about 4.5%, roughly 4.5%. And I'm constantly testing the offer. I'm not necessarily testing the funnel, I'm testing the offer. So the funnel, if I look at the funnel as, in the traditional sense of it, it's just one page, okay? But in my sense of the funnel being, okay, what's the advert? Where does it send them to? So it sends them to the landing page. And then once they've decided they're going to buy that offer, it then gives them an upsell as well once they've gone through the checkout and things like that. So I have a funnel and lots of steps. So the thing which I'm testing generally is I test things like ultimately the offer. So we've been trying different offers on the front end. We've also been testing on the back end on the upsell offers. So we basically test different products that we're upselling them to. And we're also, when people go, oh, you're testing things like button color and all that kind of stuff. No, not at all. We test big things like, do we offer free shipping or not? We spoke about this a couple of months ago, that when we switched, thank you, Michael Christen for telling me off for this. But basically he said, have you tested removing free shipping or adding free shipping? Adding free shipping, I don't know if that makes sense. Making your offer free shipping, and we changed from 2.5% to 4.5% conversion rate on that landing page. So the next thing we're going to try, because the offer is essentially like worth £83, we're selling it for 45. We're now going to start trying things like, okay, well, let's see if we can sell it for £49 or even £55. And it's like, change the price point. Those are the big things that matter. And those are the things that like will tell you whether the conversion rate versus also long-term value, lifetime value of that customer, depending on what their front-end purchase is and stuff like that, all makes a big difference. So test those things rather than actually structure a funnel or structure a landing page, because really that stuff don't make much difference. It's actually the offer that's more important.
But I can get a 0.4 of an uplift by putting an orange button, possibly.
So for those of you on the podcast, so I've just mouthed the word beginning with a B and ending in an X, Ollock in the middle. Basically, no. Things like color of headline or color of button. And I think I've said this before. That make sure the button is a contrasting color to everything else that's on the page. That's all that matters. Yeah. Really, don't fuss over that stuff. Try the big things. The offer makes the biggest difference. And
don't tell people this.
Peter Spapen has probably got his head in his hand right now, going, oh, "I've been telling people this for fucking years."
Yeah. Yeah. Test the big things.
Yes.
Right. That's going to be part of the splurge for this.
Yeah, you've got to watch to minute 49 to get
exactly because we're nearly finished. Hang on to the end for the biggest tip you'll ever get. So you watch our viewing figures. They'll start high, dead, and back high at the end. Yeah,
exactly. People will just fast forward to minute 49.
Okay. Right, that's about it. Did you know, Tim? Did you know?
Probably not.
This is, I think it's actually the 41st live Facebook Live we've done. We did 41 podcasts before that.
Really?
Yeah. So the Escape Plan podcast was 41 episodes. This is 41. So we just won't bother turning up ever again, will we?
So we're just quitting now. Is that it?
Quit right ahead. No, we'll come back next week. We'll definitely get to 50 this time, I think. Anybody, if you've got anything you want us to talk about next week, just let us know.
Drop it into the foundation. Make sure if you're not in the foundation, there's a link below. It's the free group. It's not on Facebook. Members.seriousmarketersonly.
Yeah, we don't do Facebook with women. We can avoid it. We don't want Facebook stealing all your data. We want to steal it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. The foundation is a great place to start for everybody. If you're not already in there, dive in straight away. Members.seriousmarketersonly.com.
Yeah. If this is your first time watching the show, it's usually better than this.
I thought we crushed it today, Mark.
Yeah. Here we go. Got some questions coming up. 4.5% on cold traffic. That's very good. Well done.
It is.
Tim, how long do you test for? For example, do you wait for something like 10,000 views on your landing page for cold traffic?
Yes and no. There is a minimum that I'll go, but actually, how sad am I? I was Sam was away the other evening, and I was sat looking for different documentaries on Netflix. And
that's not what I do when Alison goes away.
No, there's a documentary about numbers and statistics and all that kind of stuff. So I was sat watching that. I was talking about statistical significance. So
that's not what Sam thought you were doing either.
No, so I was watching this program, and it was actually, I can't remember what it was called. I'll see if I can dig out the title of it. It's about 50 minutes long. It's a bit Americanized, but it's quite useful in terms of actually how we use and how we make estimations on our data. So there is actually a probability factor, your P number, that's really, really important. Sorry, this is really nerdy, geeky shit. Anyway, so the tool I use.
The one about insomnia.
What about insomnia? The tool I use for creating pages has a split test function. And what it does is it allows me to split test 50-50, or I can send 25% of the new page, 75% of the original page, that kind of stuff. And it will work out for me what at which point there is a statistical significance of increased conversion rate on a particular landing page. Normally, I'm looking for at least 1,000 visitors to a page. I'm getting that really quite quickly at the moment because I'm sending probably 500-600 people a day to a page because of the ads that we're running. So it will take me about 2 or 3 days to get some meaningful data. I normally leave it a little bit longer than that. It's normally a week or so to really get an idea. And yeah, normally we're talking, and I look at it and I go, okay, so well, this page converted, or this offer converted at say 4.5%, 5%, and this offer converted at 3.5%, 4%. Yeah, oh, yeah, but there's only 1.1% difference. And it's like, well, when you start adding it up, that's 25% improvements. So you're going to get 25% more sales on one page versus on one offer versus another offer. So it pays to understand the numbers once again, but also it's understanding things like, and I put this up onto the Facebook group, so not Facebook group, on the foundation group the other day about the most important metrics that you're going to get from Facebook. So return on ad spend, cost per acquisition, those kind of things. So you've got to take those into account as well. But ultimately, that's the way I do it.
Yeah. Finally, what are we going to watch this weekend on TV? Here's my recommendation. Amazon Prime, The Boys.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's epic.
See,
my favorite series of the year so far.
See, I couldn't get into like the Umbrella Academy that you were talking about before. I've watched kind of about 2/3 of it. I was like, do you know what? I just don't care whether live, die, dragon, whatever. I really don't give a shit. So
I think you like The Boys. Everyone's like, Dave loved The Boys. Watched it the other night. So.
Yeah, I've been watching Happy, and I've watched one season.
Right, let me talk about this. Right, Tim recommended Happy to me. Right, what the hell is that? Okay, I am watching it. I am making my way through it, but what? What's wrong, Tim?
It's the evil Santa that just is brilliant. Like it is a work of genius. Wait till you get to the final episode of the first season. There's one line in it, and you'll go, "That is perfect Tim Goodwin stuff."
Cool.
Yeah,
he starts talking about stats and figures.
No, Santa Claus.
Right, bar humbug.
Yes.
Hey, actually, let's do a Facebook Live on Christmas Day. Right, guys, we're going. The endorphins are kicked in. We've gone a bit weird again.
Yeah.
Yes, let us know what you want to talk about next week. You know, we're open to talk about anything, even whether we don't know it or not. We do a crochet episode.
We could do a rock painting one.
Show them. Go on. Show everyone you painted rock.
This is not me. This is Sam. Don't tell Sam I showed you this.
Look at that.
So great.
How big is that?
Rock and roll.
And what's the hobby going to be next week?
I don't know.
Tattooing. I hope she takes up tattooing.
Not on me.
Right, guys, we're out of here. Bye.
Have a good weekend.